Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to more Entitled People stories. In today's video, an entitled Karen mistakes me and my family for cleaners at a church because we look different. She ends up attacking my 6-year-old daughter, but she did not realize that I am actually an off-duty police officer. Karen ends up getting exactly what she deserves. Here is what happened. The title story goes like this. I am a police officer that really tries to keep my work life and my personal life separate as much as I can for my family. I want my kids to grow up seeing me as their father over what I do for work. That being said, if anybody comes after me or my family, you can bet that I will have them in handcuffs in a matter of seconds. However, this one Karen had to learn that the hard way one Sunday in a church of all places. Having a day off on the weekend is golden. When it is Sunday, I always go to church with my family. It's a rarity, and it is a local church where most people assume that they know all the other members. I was wearing very casual clothing and coming into the church with my daughter. My wife and son already went inside, but my daughter insisted on coming with me to get as much daddy time as possible. She is 6 and attached at my hip whenever she can get away with it. Walking down the hallway that led to the main inner doors was where Karen stopped me. Karen, excuse me, that bathroom is an absolute disaster. Me, I'm sorry? Karen, you better be. I pay a lot of money to belong to this church and I expect you to do your job and keep the place nice, especially on a Sunday when it's full of people wanting to worship. Me, I think you misunderstand. I don't have anything to do with the state of the bathrooms. Of course you do. Just look at you and I can tell that you're a cleaner trying to be lazy and not work. You even have a kid with you to show her how to be lazy and get money without doing your job. Me, I'm here for the sermon. I don't work here. And also, please lower your voice and walk away. I'm sure somebody who actually works here at the church can help you. Karen, you're not going anywhere. Clean the bathroom right now. You and your kid are just being lazy. Ma'am, please move now. I'm not gonna tell you again. That was when she had the bright idea to use violence to try and magically get her way to happen. Again, this happened in a church. I know I keep bringing this up, but I still cannot get over it. It's the last place you would think somebody would start a physical fight with somebody if they really cared about God and salvation and everything else they tell us. The thing was that she didn't decide to hit me, and I can only guess because I was much bigger and stronger looking than her. Hitting me would have been a mistake, but instead she made a much worse choice. She ended up smacking my little girl across the cheek, and what I saw broke my heart. My baby girl on the floor crying after being hit by a fully grown woman. She went into her bag and I saw her pull out a pocket knife. I did not even want to guess if that was meant for me or my daughter, and I was not gonna find out. When I'm off duty, I keep a taser and a pair of handcuffs on me in case of an emergency. So I pull out my taser and shoot her with it. She screams when going down, and between that and my daughter's wails, people are coming into the hallway to see what's going on. I show them my badge and tell people to give me space before putting Karen in handcuffs. I then call for backup, stating what happened and that I was the officer on the scene. I'm off duty, so I just have to wait for somebody else to come and file the report of what happened. I then get her checked out medically before being transported for booking and processing. I don't give a crap about her once she was cuffed though, and instead just wanted to hold my little girl and tell her that everything was okay. She obviously did not understand why the lady hit her, so I tried my best to explain it to a way that a 6-year-old might get. I said that she did a bad thing and that daddy was gonna make sure that this Karen got in trouble for it. Then when everything was done, we would go out for lunch and ice cream and play any game she wanted. On a normal day, my daughter has me wrapped around her finger, but after being smacked, I probably would have gotten her a pony if she asked for it. Backup came, and since it was local, I pretty much knew all of the guys that showed up on the scene looking confused. I told them I tased and handcuffed her after she committed assault and appeared to be a threat to continue. They thought that she hit someone else and I happened to be there, but I was quick to point out that it was actually my own daughter that she hit. No officer wants to hear something like that and started getting her out of there as fast as they could so I could enjoy my day off. When she was talking to the police, she was still insistent that I was a cleaner and wanted me arrested for having a taser, which was supposedly illegal. Which is ironic because her knife was a switchblade, which where we live is not a legal knife to walk around with. The sermon started a bit late, but nobody seemed to mind the delay and were all understanding. A couple were even glad that she didn't make it fully inside with a weapon, because in this day and age you never know what people will do. My daughter calmed down quickly and her brother was making funny faces to make her laugh. We have told them 1,000,000 times to not mess around in church, but sometimes kids just need to be like kids. Afterwards, I did do everything I promised and we went out for lunch and ice cream. Then I got roped into having a tea party with her. Obviously, also giving half of my day off towards my son and doing things that he wanted to do. I deal with a lot of things at work and people trying to come after me more times than I can count. That is something I signed up for and has never bothered me once. Trying to lay a finger on my kid though will bring out the rage in me and cause me to have no sympathy for you. I found out later that she was charged for the switchblade and they forced a drug test on her, which found that she had meth in her system. That plus my witness testimony of what she did was enough to get her booked and locked away until she could get a bail hearing. CPS was also called because she had a kid that was actually there with her that day, just sitting down inside already. Due to getting arrested and the drug use, the kid was taken away from her as she was deemed unfit to care for her. I don't know all the details, but the little girl did have a father that was not married to the mother and playing a major role in the girl's life. He was given custody of her and I can only hope that he is a better role model. Other than that, I don't really know what happened to Karen or how her bail hearing went. I just know that I did what I had to do in the moment and protected both my kid and possibly even her own from her short temper and violent behavior. And yeah, ripe stars, I gotta say, after reading this story, I am absolutely speechless. It seems like these entitled Karens have no respect of anyone or any location. They even continue their entitled crazy behavior in churches. Anyway, if you liked the story, please don't forget to like the video and also post some star emojis in the comments because that would help me tremendously. Thank you so much. The next one is a malicious compliance story. In 2014, I was deployed to a base somewhere in the Middle East. I was an intelligence officer, however, the need of the army said, "You're gonna go to head up the logistics section." I really had no clue what I was doing. Thankfully, my NCO, non-commissioned officer, was a subject matter expert in this area. During this time, I ended up being named the primary hand receipt holder for pretty much all of the property on the base. It was about $30 million. Army regulations stipulate that financial losses for property loss are limited to several months of base pay for sub-hand receipt holders. For myself, on the other hand, I could potentially have been responsible for all of the dollars for whatever I don't sign off to someone else. So, as I am assigning sub-hand receipt holders, a facility with about 70 of my computers, worth $70,000, lost their only army worker because it was mainly staffed by contractors. This posed a significant problem for me. I had no one to sub-hand the receipt to, and I could not realistically maintain situational awareness of this facility from my other duties. So I picked up the phone and called a person at another base who oversaw this area. "Ma'am, we have a problem. I need you to send someone up here to sign up for this equipment as I cannot. Major so-and-so, you need to figure it out, LT. Me, ma'am, the only option I have at present is per army regulations to take physical custody of all these computers until such a time where a person qualified to sign for this equipment can be here." There is a long pause. While I was technically right, there were other less abrasive actions I could have taken. I just didn't because I didn't like the major anyways. So I get called into my commander's office and she is just a tad bit upset. "LT, stand at attention." So at this point I'm about to get chewed out. "Did you tell Major so-and-so you were taking her computers?" Me, "Yes ma'am." CDR, "Why?" Me, I quote the regulations and the fact that I don't have $70,000 on hand. CDR, "Why didn't you ask me?" Me, "Well, when I was made the primary hand receipt holder, I was told I need to follow the Command Supply Discipline Program and Army regulations. Furthermore, you said yourself that you were delegating your command authority to me by appointing me as the PHRH. And in doing so, as it pertains to property, I have sole discretion to act when there's not a sub-hand receipt holder available." CDR, "Yes, you're correct. I will appoint someone to sign for this. Please don't threaten field-grade officers." Me, "Roger that." Due to my actions, I was the only person to leave my position on time and had 0 investigations for property loss leveled against me. We also transferred and/or cut over $15 million worth of equipment. I received an Army Commendation Medal for my job over there. The MAJ was involved with her own investigations, and while I'm not privy to all of them, she never got promoted. And yeah, ripe stars, in my opinion, there's just something about these army malicious compliance stories that makes them just so much more juicy. I'm not even that fascinated with the military or whatever, but these stories are always awesome. And by the way, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss any of my videos. The next one is a story about a prude Karen neighbor. So this is more of an annual revenge thing. About 5 years ago, a greedy councilman put up a 3 two-story apartments next door to our house. One of these had a direct view of our pool area, and a grouchy woman and her husband moved into it. Anywho, as we have done in the 15 summers before they got there, we all went for an afternoon swim. The woman was on her balcony and made a huge dramatic fuss about going back inside and closing her curtains. She then screeched at her husband when he tried to go outside. It's not like we were indecent or anything, just in our swimsuits. We laughed about it and continued having a nice afternoon at the pool while she roasted inside. A few days went by and I decided it was too hot to be inside and went for a dip. I was in the middle of uni and this was the only time I would leave the house between assignments and tests. Now, I do not have a body that stops traffic. I'm a regular plump human whose Dorito-loving habits have begun to show around the lower body area. I take off my sarong and jump into the pool. After a few more minutes, I sense someone watching me, look up and find a man on the balcony smoking and staring right at me. I make a bit of an aggressive "what?" gesture and he scurries back inside only to return with the woman in tow. The conversation went something along the lines of her, "Excuse me? Could you not swim when my son is out here smoking? He just lost his job and this is the time he would normally smoke and you're out here naked and distracting him." Me, "Ooh, he's the age of my dad. He can smoke on your front balcony, and I've lived here for, at the time, 15 years, so you cannot blame me for being here naked." Which, by the way, I'm not. I'm swimming. Her, "I'm just asking you to be considerate, okay?" At this point, the grown-ass man baby was looking smug. Me, "If you don't like it, then move." And then I continued swimming. They stood there for another 5 minutes before once again going inside and closing the sliding patio doors and curtains. Also, I was not naked or indecent. I wear full swimsuits because I'm a little insecure about my belly. See the paragraph about the Doritos. I told my parents and the next day my mom joined me in the pool to show them, and I quote, "what a real traumatizing thigh looks like." But that got me thinking though. I could make their summers a living hell if closing all their curtains was how they would go about seeing us in the pool. So now every summer, weather permitting, I go out and flash my thighs for a few hours in the afternoon and have them roast up in their apartment. It's been 5 years of this and I will continue doing this until the day I leave home. Edit, I want to thank everyone who's giving me ideas to be even more petty. My mom and I are getting a good chuckle out of it and I'm now on Amazon looking for the hairy dude swimsuit. Also, you guys have been so wholesome about this, my Dorito thighs give thanks for the acceptance. And the next one is an Am I the Jerk story. So, am I the jerk for telling my neighbors off? My family, wife, 2 children and myself just bought a new house that has a driveway capable of fitting 6 cars comfortably. Next to us is a house split into 3 apartments where the staircase to get to the upper apartment comes out 7 feet next to our driveway. The driveway for the apartment house is on the other side of their house, making our driveway super convenient for that upper apartment. Our neighbor in the upper apartment mentioned to my wife that the previous owner allowed her to park in the driveway as it was an older woman that lived alone and did not need the space. To me, this was a casual attempt to get us to say, "Oh, go ahead," or, "Well, we don't want you to use our driveway." My wife responded with a casual, "Oh, we have 2 kids and need to use all of the space in the driveway for parking and playing." The neighbor then proceeds to park in the driveway behind my car many times to bring her laundry up to her apartment, but I was not home or I was busy in a meeting as I work from home. My wife usually would not say anything as she did not want to seem like an a-hole, but it bothered me to my core that she would use our driveway without coming out and asking. I just feel like it's a respect thing as it is my property. Today my Ring camera went off and it was her again and I could finally go out and say something. I walked out and she said, "Oh, it's just me doing my laundry again." I responded by saying, "Could you please not use our driveway? I know it's super convenient, but I would just rather you didn't use it," in a calm tone and manner, and then walked away back to my home. My wife was appalled and said I was an a-hole and worries that she would tell the other neighbors that we are douchebags, but I honestly don't care as long as our driveway is not being used without asking. By the way, my Ring camera won't go off anymore, my dog won't bark at her using the driveway anymore, and I will no longer have to stew over irrational anger of the driveway being used without permission. By the way, edit, this neighbor also happens to be overweight and have knee problems, so that's why my wife feels that makes me an a-hole for making her walk all the way around the house with her laundry to get to her stairs. So people of Reddit, am I the a-hole? And yeah, ripe stars, I would say even if the neighbor had bad knees or is overweight or whatever, that does not give her the right to use OP's property if he does not give her permission. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. The comments on Reddit said, not the a-hole, if her knees are that bad, she should not have rented a second floor apartment. Her convenience is not your problem. Comment number 2, not the a-hole. At this point, you have asked several times for her to not use your driveway, and she seems to think it's okay. The bigger issue is that by letting her on your property, you are opening yourself to an issue if she falls or gets hurt. She will be neighborly and sue your butt in a heartbeat. The next one is titled, Just Following Directions Here. This happened around the early 2000s when I was working for my uncle's fencing company. So, customer, a-hole, purchased a newly constructed home, cookie cutter, everything builder grade, the land plots were divided only by fluorescent orange marking spray paint, which is hardly official. My uncle submitted a bid per customer A's request and we got the project. We had the lowest bid, around $1,200 lower than the competition. The caveat, we collect full payment up front, not a deal breaker for customers as we accept credit card payments, this way both parties are protected from fraud. During that time, my uncle had just left his previous job as a land surveyor, his specialty, property line surveying. The estimated property line, marked by the above mentioned orange spray paint, was nearly 2 feet off on one side of customer A's property. My uncle makes the necessary adjustments and markings and we start digging the post holes. Customer A makes a surprise job site visit/inspection. He sees our post holes and turns beet red. He rushes towards us and starts dropping F-bombs left and right. What the F are you idiots doing? You're giving away a part of my property to my neighbor. Can't you guys see the bright orange marking on the dirt? I want you geniuses to fill up these holes ASAP and dig right where the orange lines are. I want my fence directly on top of the orange lines. I just about lost it and was about to get in customer A's face. My uncle stops me and he tries to explain. The orange lines are off. Customer A, I'm the one paying here, not you, so you follow my effing directions. Uncle, please let me explain. Customer A, no, I have paid you in full. You're not paid to explain. You're paid to build my fence directly exactly the way I want it, where I want it, and this conversation is over. He drives off and my uncle looks at me with a malicious smile. OP, let's grab an early lunch and then we will give him what he wants. I shrug. Over lunch, he calls my aunt, his secretary, to have her draft a new JOC/work order, aka contract. In it, it's explicitly and officially noted that the fence will be erected 22 inches east of the official property line and that the customer will shoulder full responsibility and liability should a conflict arise either with their future new neighbor, the home next door was still unsold at that point, or any other party. My aunt emails the contract to customer A, my uncle and I have our 2 martini lunch hour, aunt calls and says customer A has signed and emailed the new contract back to her. And now that we have a paper trail, we go back to the site and continue working. That same afternoon, customer A pays us another visit and says, just checking to see if you decided to follow my instructions. You idiots didn't wait for me to sign the new contract before resuming work, did you? Me? We sure did. As he turned around to leave, I can hear him mouth something of, effing idiots. Upon completion, 3 days later he signs off that the work was satisfactory. He was still in a-hole mode, refusing to acknowledge either my uncle or I when we thanked him for his business. 4 months later he contacts my uncle again, requesting for him to bid on a new project. And yeah, you guessed it, to move the existing fence on top of the official property line. We gave him an unreasonably high bid and still secured the project. This time around, he was a teddy bear throughout the entire project. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please don't forget to check out my endless playlist, which has thousands of videos and hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much, and I will see you again tomorrow.